AI is everywhere, including here. So stay tuned to learn some more.
Hello, and welcome to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast, where we inform, encourage, and support Christian indie writers on their journey to publication. I'm Christina Catane, and I write Christian fiction.
I'm Jennifer Carl Tong, and I write historical Christian romance.
I'm Jamie Hirschberger. I write short fiction under the pen name J.R. Nichols.
So we're really excited to see all of you guys in the chat, and we're really excited for all our listeners who only listen to us. Like, I've actually met some of the people that only listen to us, and they're awesome. So we just love you all. And if you can, like, go over to YouTube and like and subscribe so that we can get our numbers up, so we can do some more content for you guys. Because once we hit 1,000, it opens the door for us to do all kinds of stuff. So we would love it if you would do that. And I know I'm supposed to say a bunch of other stuff, but I am not good at being the hostess.
It's just one of those.
What have I forgotten?
It's one of those days. Like, can I start off really quick? I know we're not doing the what's up now, but just to apologize to you ladies and everyone else. Like, last week I had, I'll just throw this out there really quick. I had a small medical biopsy, and I was super sore and not feeling well on Friday. So I just could not participate. But good news is everything came back negative. Praise God.
Yay!
And then I ended up getting like the stomach flu or something this week. And so I missed our Patreon salon that we do once a month, everybody. And so I just want to apologize, everybody. Like,
we talked about you the whole time.
That's great, because there's lots to unpack there, I'm sure. But I just missed you guys. So
yeah, we missed you too.
Yeah. So anyway, we have lots of people in our chat already today. We've got we've got the Mrs. Robinson is here. She said she's missed us. We missed you too. SL Parent is also here. Good morning. Piper is here as well. So yeah, thanks, SL Parent. I appreciate it. I am feeling better. I'm not 100%. So let me apologize in advance at how lame I'm going to be today for the podcast. So it's going to be awesome. It's always the ones like this that end up being okay, right? Like, we just kind of stumble through.
It's usually fine. I think we're really good at just going with the flow and kind of taking it as it comes.
Babbling.
So, yeah. And speaking of babbling, today we're babbling about AI. And last week we talked about how I had used AI to help me with my daily, like what I do daily, and how to optimize it so I don't get burnt out. Because I've been struggling for a while, and how it really helped me. And it's still working pretty good. If I could just sleep through the night.
Girl, same. It's got to be this. It's got to be menopause.
Maybe I should ask AI how I can sleep through the night.
Maybe.
I'm just probably going to say, go get some estrogen, girl.
Yeah, something.
That's what I think. Anyway, but
sorry
AI
for all you men and the women that are younger than us, because you're going to probably hear a lot of this from here on out. We're at that stage.
Yeah. So, but AI is everywhere. Like, you can't even go on Facebook anymore and look at anything without going to check if it's AI or not.
Like, even when I go to Google now, it's like, do you want to do the AI mode? I'm like, I thought I already was. What is AI? What was Google to begin with? But like, yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy that it's everywhere. And it's really good for my stock, I have to tell you, because I have a lot of technology stocks. I've made a lot of money. Anyway, that's beside the point. But we want to talk specifically about how AI can help authors, without being dependent on it, without using it to write your books for you. We want to kind of dash through that.
Yeah, because people do that, and that's kind of ruining. Several months ago, I remember coming on here and talking about how I read a book, and I got into it a ways. I'm like, is this AI? Like, there just was something, like, it was well written, and then other parts were like just so not, or so off, that I was like, how would this not have been caught? Or like, even when you're writing it, like, it was just so yeah, that it's kind of muddying the waters for those of us that are indie authors, and we're getting judged. But let's be honest, we've been judged from day one as
we've been judged for being indie authors before it was remember that joke, or not? It was a joke. It was a song that said I was country when country wasn't cool. Do you remember that song?
yes.
Like, we were indie authors before it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now I feel like everybody's going indie, like musical artists, everybody. They're just like,
Well, when we were talking just a couple minutes ago, and music did come to mind before you brought up that song, Tina, but that kind of feeds into my thoughts. Like, AI is a tool that can make writing better in the same way that auto-tune came on the scene and had the potential to make music better. But then it kind of took the life out of it, because there's such a thing as being too perfect. And the sad thing is that, life before auto-tune is now kind of a feeling of nostalgia for people. And when you listen to, you don't have to go very far back. If you listen to like Steve Perry and some of the great singers from the 80s before auto-tune really was a thing,
was really good.
Yeah. And then you kind of feel like the life is kind of taken out of the work, even though it's quote unquote perfect as far as pitch. And that's, I think, what you pick up on when you're reading an AI generated work. Like, it might be quote unquote perfectly written, but is not human in a way that is so not necessarily definable. But if you know, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of like this video I was watching the other day where someone was scuffling with a police officer, and it looked like the police officer was in the wrong. But as you're watching it, if you pay attention, the police officer had 3 arms.
Oh.
So you don't notice the 3rd arm at first, but then you just think, well, this doesn't seem quite right. And then suddenly you see the 3rd arm. And I feel like that's what it is when you notice that something's by AI. It's like suddenly you see the 3rd arm.
Right.
Well, and that's the problem, is like, I have the least amount of ability to discern AI visually. I can catch it with my ears, and I can catch it like when I'm reading, because I think I hear it when I'm reading in my head. But if I'm watching a video, like, so many times I'll be like, oh, look at that cute dog. And then the comments say, this is AI. Are you people blind? I feel like apparently I am, because that's where I get fooled the most.
Yeah. And we're old enough, like, as we're talking about this, we're kind of focusing on like the bad of AI, or the negative, which I think you hear a lot of right now, understandably. But the 3 of us, we're old enough that, do you ladies remember when we were young, but like computers were going to ruin the world? And it was going to take away jobs. I remember this, growing up in Michigan, not only in Michigan, but in like auto territory. Like, the fear was always that like the automobile industry was going to go away, and our area was going to just dry up because there'd be no jobs. Even if you're a male person or you work at a restaurant, your job is dependent on the money that comes in from people that work at this was a fear that I grew up with my whole life. And what has happened now, we're decades later, we realize that the computers actually just changed jobs. There's still jobs out there. And so we've lived through that. And then on the music front, like what you're talking about, I also remember when artists started lip syncing at concerts. And and the argument was like with Janet Jackson, well, like, yeah, but if you see her concert, it's all this dancing, and there's no way you could sing and do all this. And I was like, but I paid to see her sing. And so, and if you go to concerts now with all the dancing and everything, they're not lip syncing, because there was such a backlash that like they tried this and realized, oh, this isn't going to work. So my thought is, like, as I hear negative stuff about, or I fear things about AI, I realize like this is not the first time we have ever come across where technology can bring fear into the world. And also, we have realized as humans that you can't take away the humanness of things. Like, no one wants to go and see Janet Jackson lip sync. That's not what they pay for. We would rather have less dancing or flaws in her voice, to Jamie's point, because that's the part of the artistry too, is the rawness and the performance of it. So having said all that, which I know sounds like I'm babbling, but bringing that all around, as artists, I do not fear for my place in the world of art, because you can't replace me and my imperfections and the things that I would bring to the plate. A computer couldn't do that because they don't have my experiences. They don't have my relationship with Jesus and how he will form the words and like that. So.
Exactly. So let's move to the positive. And let's talk about how AI can actually help an indie author. What are your guys' thoughts?
Have you guys ever used AI for helping you with anything? Let's just start there. I thought.
Well, I've used like AutoCrit and Pro Writing Aid.
Right, correct. I mean, even spell check, if you want to get really down to the nitty gritty, is AI. You know, if people are like, oh, down with AI, but I have used it for research. There have been times that I've been looking up information, like very specific stuff, you know, like how much would a secretary make in 1919 Michigan? And like Google can only go so far with that. Like it'll cling on to the word secretary and how much they make. And then I'm finding out how much secretaries make nowadays, which I don't care. But I've chat GPT, I found it, I can ask a question, and if I don't get the right information, then I keep asking more questions, and it'll take the original question, it'll remember the original question, and it'll keep niching it down till it help me find what I want. And I've also found that I can take some things I get from AI and then go back to Google or other place. It helps me to focus into where I should be looking for the information that I'm looking for. So I have used it for research, and I found that to be very helpful for me.
Now that you mentioned it, I have used it for in Canva to create drawings of my characters. Just to have like because my characters are kind of like don't match modern pictures because it's like in the future, but also in the past. So I have to be very specific and say, I want this captain to have this kind of uniform, but I want it to have this kind of animal fur on it. And I want it to be in this place. And so it's really been helpful to help me design kind of images that represent my characters.
Yeah, Canva does a great job with that too. And they've been doing it for a while, like even before ChatGPT and the others were producing pictures. You could go on. I did that just for funsies and to get so I could have pictures of my characters so that as I'm writing them, I have like a visual, you know. I said, give me a Texan frontier woman with red hair. Like I was just very specific. And it's funny the things that it gave me. It got frontier wrong. The horse had 2 back ends. There was no head. Like it was like it clearly was like there was issues. But
what I like about it is you can tell it like, okay, I like this, but I don't like this. Can you change this part? And it'll kind of redo it. And sometimes it gets better and sometimes it gets worse. I want to point out what Piper Dow says. Oh, go ahead.
Which one were you going to go to?
I was going to go to the one because we were talking about pictures. Okay. I used to take a lot of photos. I used to roll a film a week. Then came digital cameras and Photoshop. And the tools let me do different things with my pictures.
That's a good point. Yep.
Yep.
The Mrs. Robertson says, I'm using AI for podcast theme outlines. We have used it on our podcast as well to generate ideas. It's great for metadata, for titles, and for the hashtags and the metadata that we use for behind the scenes. SEO stuff. Yeah. Piper also says Wikipedia used to be that you couldn't use it because it couldn't be trusted because it was editable. Now Wikipedia is a great place to go for research because it cites its sources. That is very true. Mm-hmm. Her point is that AI tools are tools. Agreed.
Right.
So the same way that we use it for the podcast for metadata, it can be used for books as well. Speaking of Piper, Piper, I hope we get this correct. Please correct us. How I know I'm going to get it wrong, but Piper has used it for back of the book blurbs, which hallelujah. because if you're a writer that loves to write back of the book blurbs, then contact me because I could give you lots of fun stuff to do for me for free. But it's one
Same.
of those things I always say, next time before I start writing the book, I'm gonna write the back of the book blurb, because once you write the whole book, there's just like so much and you don't know what to include. Piper took, now this is where she's gonna have to correct me. She went and took her entire manuscript and put it into notebook.lm and had them write like a blurb description. Notebook LM does not do a great job, but what it does, as far as the book blurb, but what it was able to do was make it into a more concise description. And then she took that description and went over somewhere else, which I think was ChatGPT, and put it in there and had specific prompts. And this is something we should probably talk maybe at the next salon, get specific details that we can share with others. But then she put it in there and she got a decent enough blurb that then she was able to go in and write a blurb herself, because that's what's hard, is to know what to put in the blurb. But then she took it and wrote it herself. So I thought that was really genius, because that's one of those things I hate doing. So if I can get AI to help me do that, then.
And what just came into my head is, I wonder if I could take my blurbs from my first 2 books and say, and this is what book 3 is about. Now write me a blurb that, because I used a specific template, right? Those 2 blurbs are very similar to each other, with just different information. I wonder if I could get it to write me a blurb that's very similar to those first 2 blurbs, but with the new information, and save my brain.
I'm sure
from all the smoking that it does when I'm trying to figure out an idea.
Just the existence of AI does not necessarily equal success. To Piper's point, these are tools. And you hear Jen saying how Piper didn't stop at her first pass through whatever AI program. She then went and used a different tool. So there's still a component of having to know what's still not working. There's still a component of artistry, because you're evaluating that output and then refining it. So it's not just, now I have an AI tool, I'm going to have everything be great. No, you still have to evaluate what the AI gives you and continue to work until you get something that you believe is usable.
Right. Piper also says that Thomas Umstattd has a tool specifically to do blurbs. It's an AI tool. I have not tried it yet, but we have a few of our patrons on Patreon that have used it and think it's great. So he's Thomas Umstattd from the Christian Publishing Show, if you want to go check him out. Yeah. I was also thinking too, because of like what Tina did. We have on our notes here self-publishing checklists, which I think is a great idea. I do have a checklist that I use when I'm starting the publishing process. When I finish a book, like the whole publishing / launch thing that I've kind of created as I've done things and I've made mistakes, and I put it in this list, make sure you don't do this again. And you could go to AI and you could say, this is the type of book I'm writing. This is what I want to, so, and then, have them create a checklist. Now, is it going to be perfect? Maybe not. But if you're a brand new artist and don't know where to start, it would be a great way to start. And you're not paying someone that's advertising to you on Instagram that they're going to teach you how to publish and charge you $500 to do that. Not that those guys are bad. There's some really legit authors out there that have that as a side hustle that are good. But if you're just starting out and you don't know, then that's going to be a good place.
And I think it's important to know that what AI does is it searches the whole internet for the information that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And then it consolidates it in a way that is to the point of whatever details that you've given it. So like I have used it before when I've done my studying for the Wednesday night Bible study that I teach, and I've made a PowerPoint. And then I might go into ChatGPT and just say, what is the main spiritual truth that we find in this passage? To check myself, kind of, and see, like, what is everybody else saying? And of course, I have a brain, and I can see that, oh, this person said that, but I don't trust that person, because it will always tell you who said, like, where they got it. Like it's especially the Google one.
Yeah.
It has the links at the bottom That's the one I use for that. And so I can say, oh, I missed that. And this preacher over here is the one that talked about that. And I have watched his content and I know that I agree with him on most things. So then I will not just take it at face value. I'll go back in to the text and my text notes and make sure that it's true. But it just helps me weed out, like, did I put something in here that maybe I shouldn't have? Or did I forget to add something that maybe I should have?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you only have a week to prepare an in-depth study of a passage of scripture, sometimes you miss things.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that's the way you can use it as a tool without having it actually do the work for you.
Right. The Mrs. Robertson says a friend added an AI written description from ChatGPT and plopped it into her draft. When I was reading it, that description really stood out, and not in a good way. It didn't flow and not her voice. So that's a good, I agree. It's going to stand out to writers if you are using AI in the wrong way. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, then maybe
It's
that's
that
a good
third arm.
transition into where authors should be careful in their use of AI.
Agreed.
Right. Yeah,
So,
I think that a lot of that's common sense because we all know that there are copyright issues when you're publishing a book. Like you can't use song lyrics and you can't. So if AI is scraping the internet, right, that's where they're getting their information from.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to have copyright issues if you just take it straight.
Agreed. And you don't.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jamie.
I was recently having a discussion about actually AI generated content, whether you can sort of claim it as being yours or not. And the law, it's a pretty gray area, mostly because assigning responsibility for the content is what is tricky, because AI can't be held responsible, but you can. So if you publish something that somehow ends up being harmful, obviously this is nothing we would ever advocate that you do, but there it's just such a gray area right now as to who owns AI generated work. It's something just to be careful about.
Yeah, agreed. And I was just gonna say, like, we kind of already touched on this, but like you can't replace Jennifer Carl Tong. You can't replace Christina Catane. You can't replace J.R. Nichols. Like, we have our own distinct voices. We did this once on an episode where our sprint prompt was to write like one of the other people. Like, we pulled names, I think it was. And it was so, when I would write like Tina, everyone knew I was writing like Tina, and everyone knew that Tina was writing like Jamie, or how, I don't remember exactly how it went down, because we all have distinct voices, so much so that as friends who write each other's work and listen to each other's writing, we know this, we know what sounds like them. And that is not something that like so that's not, can't be replaced. So like you could go into with your story idea, even an outline, and have AI write something for you, but it's going to be so generic. It's not going to be something that like, you're never going to like, maybe it'll sell, I don't know, but it's not going to be the art that God has intended for you to do. So
yeah, there's this thing that I teach when I'm teaching a specific Greek word in the Bible about creating. And I always talk about the reason that we can tell the difference between a Picasso and a Rembrandt and a Michelangelo and all the masters is because something of who they are is spilled out onto the canvas,
yeah,
or into the clay or the marble or whatever their medium they're working with.
Mm-hmm.
So you can tell a Rembrandt from a Picasso because Picasso was a entirely different kind of person.
Right.
And who he was showed up in his art.
Right.
To take this further, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Just to take your whole concept even further, I was looking on social media and there's a culture, I cannot remember which culture, so forgive me, but they have a word that literally translates to mom's hand, and they use it when it comes to their cooking. And so the reason why you always want your mother's cooking is literally because of her actual hands being in the food, actually like flavoring it in a way. And I know like you could like totally get grossed out about that, but really it's like an umami kind of a thing to where it's going to have, nobody else can make it the way mom did, literally. And so anyway, just that came to mind when you were saying
that totally makes sense. Because like when I pick up the salt shaker, like my daughter and I cook side by side sometimes. And when I pick up the salt shaker and she picks up the salt shaker, we do not shake it the same number of times. Like I almost always shake the salt shaker the same number of times, no matter what I'm cooking. And the same with her. And that is not the same. I like her cooking better, but that's just what I'm just saying. Like what you're saying is literally true.
Yeah. Piper also says there are also AI isms that become notable once you see them, like the third arm. And so I would agree that with writing, it's the same thing, that there are isms, but there's also, this is the other problem too. And I've seen this in writing groups that I'm in on Facebook and other places, on Instagram, people talking about it. But there are certain things that people say, if they see it now, they just are like, this is AI. Like M dashes. I use M dashes. It's our generation, I think. I use Jamie, you edit them. I know, and I use them a lot, don't I? Like, so she knows both Jamie and I use them. Ellipses, I love them. I use them. But
I'm a kamikaze.
So if people see them now, they just assume it's AI. But I would argue that if they see them and assume it's AI, but the rest of your writing is unique to your voice, that's your argument back, right? Like, because you're not gonna be able to chase down everybody that's gonna say you're AI. And it has not shown up in my reviews yet, but eventually you're gonna start seeing people, I've heard of people attacking other authors saying that their work is AI in the reviews on Amazon. I've not had it happen yet. So maybe I won't, but I mean, it's just something you're going to have to deal with at some point, I'm sure. But
okay. So because of the time, let's skip over the next section and let's go to faith, creativity, and stewardship.
Okay.
Let's talk about how that affects our use of AI in our writing.
Well, a lot of my writing comes from my daily interactions with the Lord. And whether it's a sermon that I hear or my, especially like the spiritual aspects of my writing, it'll come from like things that I've experienced or people that I love have experienced, or scriptures that I feel like God has spoken to me through. That comes through in my writing. And so I don't know that AI could, I could probably go to AI and say, give me a spiritual truth for this type of chapter. And it could probably give me something. I have used it for ideas for those of you that are not patrons. If you are a patron at the $10 level, you get every month, you get a calendar for us. Like it goes like to put like in a happy planner or whatever. And every day there's like different, so like what's what I'm looking for, like inspiration. Yeah. And I have like, when I'm like, I do a bunch of search to find it, like I'm not just writing them, and I've used AI to help me come up with some of them, and some of them are so bad, or like it's the same scriptures over and over. It's like how like the scriptures that get used every single time, like no offense to Our Daily Bread, but I feel like every time I go to Our Daily Bread, it's a scripture that has been used 100 times that year already, so you get that kind of stuff. It's very stale and it doesn't feel very personal at all. So that's what I'm looking for. It doesn't feel personal if you're not using
it's not inspired.
It's not inspired.
Because, right now I know at the beginning of the podcast, I said I write Christian fiction, and I kind of hesitated when I said it, because right now I am actually writing a nonfiction book. And it's a nonfiction book about how to have intimacy with the Lord. And this book literally came out of my intimacy with the Lord. And my struggle, because I thought I wasn't good enough. I thought I wasn't doing it right. And the Lord spoke to me and literally during my devotions gave me an outline. It was almost like a download. Like I was just like writing feverishly, trying to get the outline of the book down. And so when I go in there to write a chapter, I'm coming at it from something that I've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what are the tools that I used to help me to be more consistent with my sacred rhythms in my life that are very important to me, but because of my human brain, and you can call it my menopausal brain if you want to, like, we are so flighty as human beings, aren't we? Like, we are so prone to just forget what we're doing and be distracted and all that stuff. And there's so many distractions in our world. So I could not write this book unless I haven't been experiencing these things that I'm talking about. And the book wouldn't be the same if I hadn't experienced it and it didn't come from me. And AI has never struggled with its relationship with God and how to get closer to him.
Right. Can I push back on something? I agree with everything you said, but can I push back on something you said at the very beginning? Just now, you said that AI cannot be inspired, is not inspired. And it made me think, like, can it? Like, so I know that there is an anti using the Bible as, throwing open the book and pointing and looking for answers. I agree. Like, you need to be in the word daily and be in relationship with Jesus and be like, to know his voice, you have to read his word, right? But I also know that there have been times in my life that the book has just literally fallen open and the Lord has given me exactly what he wanted me to get in that moment. Like, I don't think you should rely on that, but I think that it does happen. I think it's possible that God can use AI to also lead us in the direction spiritually and with our books that he wants us to. But you still have to keep the Holy Spirit, not the algorithms at the center.
And when I said inspired, I meant inspired by the Holy Spirit working within us. So I believe that AI can be inspirational.
Yeah.
But it cannot be inspired by the Holy Spirit the way we are. Holy Spirit can lead us there.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah. So it's just, I agree with you.
Well, and what's so funny is we had some discussion before doing this episode that AI is controversial, not just among authors, but among Christians. I mean, none of us really are going to be writing for an audience that is, I don't know if you would want to call it uber fundamental, or like we've talked before that just there are going to be people who would say, you call yourself a Christian and yet you wrote fill in the blank. And some people would say, you call yourself a Christian and you use AI. Like, there are literally people who have conviction against it. And I would say, if that's you, then do not use it. Like, I feel like you should honor your own convictions about this sort of thing. And in no way is this advocating putting your convictions about it aside.
Agreed.
Exactly. Okay, girls, do we have anything else to say about this topic before we move on?
I'm not anti-AI, and I will use it as a tool. And I think that if you have fear of that, like Jamie said, if you have a conviction, then stay clear of it. But if you have a fear of it, I think you also need to put that at the feet of Jesus and let him guide you in that too. Because I know, like I said, I've lived through lots of different fears in the world that never came to fruition. So,
remember Y2K?
Oh yeah. I remember it. We had lots of bottles of water at our house for white.
It's funny that you said that about when you were talking about the computers and being scared. Like, my dad was building computers in our garage before Bill Gates was doing it. Mm-hmm. And like, I remember I was like 8 and there was a problem at work. He worked on the pipeline, which was across the inlet from us, but there was this satellite dish on top of a shack, on top of a mountain. That controlled the communication system. So he put me in his Toyota Land Rover and we drove up the mountain. And when you walked in the shack, you were walking into the computer, like the whole shack, because the computers were huge back then.
Yeah.
Huge. And I remember sitting on the hillside eating wild blueberries while my dad went into the computer to fix it. So like, I never had that fear of computers. Mm-hmm. My dad sent me to computer programming classes at the community college when I was like 10. So, but yeah, there can be a fear, and then there's just such a spectrum of people who um, know to use it as a tool. There are those that think that it's going to solve everything, which it won't, because it's only as good as the human inputs that are being input into it. And then there's those that are very fearful or think that it's satanic or something. And I think it really, always follow your convictions, but I really feel like it would benefit us to try to find the middle.
Right. TR says another point is most generative AI is horrible at grammar. So even if it has M dashes, they're not used correctly. That's very true. Very true. He also says that it's good for spitting out super basic prompts on premises, but nothing complex or very much detail that about it, if anyone would get anything from. I agree with that. And Mom says it also needs to be fact checked constantly. Yeah, these are all things we are saying and agreeing. Like, it's a tool, and it can be helpful, but you cannot just rely on it. Not especially as artists, and so.
Right. Okay, so let's transition to the feeding of the backs. Yay. This is where we give feedback on some prompts. We all got the same prompt. This is a perfect illustration of what we were talking about earlier. We all had to use the same 5 words to write a story, and we had 15 minutes to do it. And we are going to read it to you now, and then we are going to give it positive feedback only, because we didn't have time to plan or to edit or any of that stuff. And this is a good example of what not AI is, or what AI is not. This is totally 100% human, errors and all.
Yeah.
So Jen, will you tell us what the prompt was and what you wrote?
I would love to. And if you're curious, the prompt is in the show notes. And if you would like to set a timer for 15 minutes and do this as well, we would love for you to share it with us over on our Facebook group, which is also in the show notes. But today we did 5 words, and the words are sport, accent, champion, important, and insist. And I got 1 word in the first sentence. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, sport, are you here with a parent or something? Other than a slight shrug of the shoulder, the little boy barely acknowledged that he had heard Kyle. He just continued to bounce the tennis ball off of the side of the building, and catching it with his glove. There's problems with that sentence, sorry. Kyle looked around for any sign of an adult chaperone, but saw none. Are you alone? The boy stopped and gave Kyle a sideway glance of trepidation. He started to back away. Kyle threw up both hands. Oh no, buddy, you don't have to worry about me. I wasn't. But he stuttered halfway through his sentence. The last thing he wanted to do was scare away a lost little boy who might be in need of assistance. Wait here, he said, then rushed back into the building. The receptionist's head popped up as he brushed by her. Sam Connolly is on line 1. Not now, is all he managed before he bust through his own office door. Without hesitation, he grabbed the baseball off of the stand that sat on the bookshelf behind his desk, then ran back outside. To his surprise and relief, the little boy was still there. He no longer bounced the ball off the brick wall. He kept turning it over in his hand as if contemplating a decision. Would you like to play catch? Kyle asked, interrupting the boy's musing. The boy looked at him, but said nothing. Kyle held out the ball. I have a real baseball. The boy's face lit up momentarily, then fell into what appeared to be confusion. That looks really old. He spoke. And Kyle took it as a small victory. Yeah, it is old, but it still works. He nodded toward the boy's glove. That looks pretty old, too. The boy clutched the glove to his chest protectively. It still works. Let's see, Kyle said as he tossed the ball underhand. 3, 2, 1.
Oh,
yay!
That was not about your writing. It was about it ending.
Oh, thanks.
I feel like why I laughed right out loud is because, like, just the nature of children, they don't want to answer, what's your name? Where's your mom? But the minute there's an opportunity to, like, burn you, they are on it. Like, that ball looks old. And he maybe was not even trying to be insulting. It was just an observation. But children are, like, the best at that. I thought that was very authentic, Jen.
Oh, thank you.
And I like so badly just want it to continue.
Me too, actually.
I wasn't ready for it to end.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Weren't you gonna have a series that was like sports romances, Jen? Like, and wasn't the first one like supposed to be like a baseball one?
Yeah. That's still in the works. I have folders.
Yeah.
So many folders with started projects. Like y'all know that. But this feels more like this guy is like a businessman of some sort. And I don't know if like you were catching the hints. Like he had it, this ball was on a stand behind him. And it's old. So I was trying to get to the point where we find out that it was like signed by Hank Aaron or something like that. Like, but that he was more concerned about this little boy running away again than he was about this like treasured,
Oh yeah, I mean, I totally picked up all of that. And what
good.
what the whole thing was is because you were like from behind the desk. Because that right there was humongous clue. Because why is there a baseball in an office building? Like he didn't go into his house. He went, you know what I'm saying? So like the clues were very much there with just little breadcrumbs to lead us there. And I thought that was very well done. I totally got it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it was good.
I had and the first few minutes I was just like staring at the screen. I got the first sentence out, right? Hey, sport. That was it. Like, where am I going with this?
Word number 1 used.
Yeah.
That's funny. I used that same word in my first sentence too.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Yeah. All right, Tina, how about you?
Okay. I do not have a New York accent, but this was written in a New York accent.
So you hear it that way. You just can't say it that way.
So you just have to go with your imagination. Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay. Be a good sport and go grab me some fries from the Take and Go, Uncle Morty said in his posh London accent. Don't get me wrong, Uncle Morty, if you couldn't tell by the name, is not posh. And also not from London. In fact, he's from Flatbush originally in Brooklyn. Now we all live in Staten Island, and our family owns a pizzeria on Rockaway Boulevard. He's not the greatest business man. That would be my Pops. Pops does the books and the ordering and stays in the back office, keeping track of receipts and inventory. That's his strength. People think he's being a good sport, letting Uncle Morty be the face of the business while he stays in the background, but he likes it that way. There's nothing more important to Pops than being the center of attention. Yeah, I know, that's not very Italian of him, but he is who he is, and it's important to let people be who they are. Uncle Morty, on the other hand, missed his true calling. He should have been on the stage across the river, but Grandpa couldn't afford those fancy acting schools. St. Patrick's was the alma mater of everybody that came up on Staten Island. Uncle Morty, though, was a natural. He was a champion when it came to impressions. He could listen to somebody one time and then be able to do them. It might not seem important to everybody else, but Uncle Morty needed to be front of house. It's where he could showcase his talent, be seen and loved by the people that would laugh at his shtick, pound him on the back, and call him an OG original. Uncle Morty's wife, Sophia, she'd stopped finding his antics funny a long time ago, and Pops just wasn't the comedy appreciating type. Ma, well, she was busy with her PTA moms and book clubs and, well, needed her own kind of audience. She didn't compete well, so she usually just steered clear of Uncle Morty. I, on the other hand, loved his comedic timing and the talent he had of mimicking others perfectly. He could be the Godfather 1 minute and the King of England the next. I wanted to be just like him, which is why I was more than thrilled when Uncle Morty asked me to join him at the front of the house so he could teach me everything he knew. I thought I would be the next Sebastian Maniscalco, which is why I was so disappointed to find out I was relegated to fetching fries.
Yay!
I love it. I love when you write in first person, first of all. That is so fun. And like I love this uncle. Like at first I was so confused, but I was still entertained. Like how is he speaking in a British accent, but he's not at all from England, but so well done. Like I feel like these characters are real already to me. Like it was just a lot of fun to listen to. Well done.
Yeah, very much a very good introduction. It reminds me a little bit of the introduction to the movie Goodfellas. Not an endorsement of going to watch the movie Goodfellas, by the way. But it has a very good setup and build up to launch into something that is very intriguing about the lives of these people. I appreciated it.
Thanks. I really did channel my Staten Island family. although they're Irish, not Italian.
Yeah.
And they owned a pub, not a pizzeria. But other than that,
That's awesome.
I do believe it was on Rockaway Boulevard, though.
Very cool.
The pub.
That's really
thanks,
cool.
guys.
Very good character work, Tina.
Thanks. All right, Jamie, what did you do?
I did just this little bit of nothing, but
You always say that, and then it's always good.
Yeah,
it's
right.
really kind of not. Okay, but I think I maybe got all of the words, although I'm looking and my list only has 4 words. So I apparently missed one of them when I copied it into my document. How hilarious. Okay, here's what I got. Why did you have to insist Becca play a sport this year? I huffed and tucked my blanket under my thighs. It's freezing out here. Come on, we both agreed that she'd learn lots of valuable lessons by being part of a team. And don't forget how good it felt to be state champions. I looked dubiously at the trio of girls playing a game of warm-up catch with my daughter. As if on cue, they executed 2 misses in a row. I started humming "We Are the Champions" to myself, creating a little music video of 10-year-olds chasing errant balls down walking paths, darting and careening around parents, hauling camp chairs or wagons behind them. You're just a bit burnt out, my husband offered. I'm just a bit cold. Who ordered this weather? I told you not to wear shorts. I got you that nice 2-piece set for Christmas. I didn't want to waste it. What do you mean? I didn't want to wear it here. I'm saving it for a different occasion. What occasion? A Costco run? A trip to the hairdresser? I was frustrated, but didn't want him to know that, so I tried to be flippant. I'm saving it for that vacation you're taking me on. Vacation? Yeah, you said yourself. I'm burnt out. Okay, so where am I taking you? The ball my daughter's teammate had wildly flung came rolling over and landed between our chairs, giving me an excuse to take my time with my answer. My daughter came running to retrieve it and gave us a sheepish little wave before doing so. As she stood, my husband tapped her ball cap with 2 fingers and she giggled. Somewhere exotic, I said. What? Where I want to go. He looked blankly at me. For my vacation? Oh, yeah, that. I shook my head and rolled my eyes. He said, okay, yeah, well, I was kind of thinking maybe a trip upstate. No way. I want to go at least far enough away that the people speak with an accent. Okay, well, then a trip downstate? Hardy har har. For real, though, why don't you give it some thought? Take your time. I'll get you out of here for a few days, and maybe that will be enough to burn off some of your funk. I grew quiet. The game began, and I watched it in silence. My daughter and her friends were chatty and full of life for the after game, in spite of having been mercy. My husband meant well, I knew, but what he said about me being in a funk had pushed a button. What was going on with me? And that's all I wrote.
Okay, first of all, as soon as you read what he said about her being in a funk, my hackles went up. So like as a woman, as a mom, like I already identify with this woman. I already feel like she's real, and I like ready to defend her. Like funk, that's how you're going to describe like that she's burnt out and that she's doing everything she can to hold this family together. And you know, in my mind, this is real, and I'm ready to like throw hands for her. So, well done. Like the people are real. Yeah. And sitting on the sidelines while kids play Little League baseball, exactly everything you just said. Like we are the champions in your head as you watch them not be champion like.
The only thing worse is T-ball.
Yeah. Oh no, it's great. T-ball is so great because it's so bad.
I'm pretty sure my son was sitting down in the outfield picking his nose. Like I'm pretty sure that's what he did.
There's always at least one.
Yep.
Anyway,
yeah, I appreciate that. I had fun. My most relatable thing was like saving an outfit. Like you don't want to wear it just anywhere. It's such a great
And you said 2-piece set, so in my mind it's a tracksuit.
Right. That's exactly it. Yes. And
you're saving the tracksuit?
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I totally did what is the word? Connect with this woman and like the funk and the burnout, and like I'm sure she is so tired of being the person that has to drive the kids to all the practices and be at all the games and still make dinner and make sure everyone has a snack. And like, I was just feeling for her so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
Well done.
appreciate that, friends.
Yeah. Very
You always
well.
make your characters feel real. Love it.
Yeah. And that was good. So I don't know what you were talking about.
We always do
appreciate
it. When I finished writing today, I said to Tina, I'm like, well, those are words. That's our famous line, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of thinking this is fun. I wish I could say it in a New York a real. Now, if I went and spent like 4 days with my family, I could do it in a Staten Island accent because I tend to pick up accents when I'm with people, but I can't just do it because I want to.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Okay, so let's transition to our next portion of the show, which is the what's next part. Let's start with you, Jamie.
Yeah, I've got to log off, as you know, right away. So I just want to say, see you guys soon. Hopefully, I'll open my manuscript sometime this week. I don't know, because I did actually open it over the break. So I'm getting more back into the saddle, and all of you are a big help to that. So thanks for just being a part of
Awesome.
my life.
Awesome.
Yep.
Good to be
Thank
back
you.
together, friends. See you next
Yeah.
time.
See you next time. How about you, Tina? What's up?
Well,
What's next for you?
If I could actually sleep through the night, my new like routine thing would work perfectly. The problem is I wake up at some odd hour of the morning and I can't get back to sleep. So sometimes it's 3 a.m. and sometimes it's 5 a.m. And then my whole idea of starting my plan at 7 a.m. just goes out the window. And then it's like, sometimes I'm up at 8, sometimes I'm up at 10, sometimes I'm up at 6. Like, I don't know. It's just frustrating. And
Yeah.
I don't know what to do about it, but that's it. That's like, but I did write a lot since I started the new thing, and I'm counting it as a win because even on the days when like the other day when I slept till 10:30 and I still felt like I couldn't keep my eyes open, I opened my manuscript.
That's awesome.
And I read what I'd written the day before and I added 2 sentences to it. So I'm counting it as a win.
That's awesome.
What about you? What's up with you?
I kind of already told everybody like what's been up with me. And so like last Saturday, I think it was, one of our patrons reached out in our chat and said, hey, I would like to sprint. Is anyone available? And I was just so like, but I wanted to. And that's the exciting thing, is that I feel like ever since our November sprint challenge, people are writing more, and I am like, my head is in the game now. My head is totally in my story. I just got to like get healthy and feel good. And so my plan is to like you, like I'm gonna open up my manuscript and I'm gonna at least sprint one day every week. Gearing up for this coming April, we're gonna do the sprint challenge again this coming April. So we got a lot of plans as a podcast that we want to do. I've been doing lots of podcast stuff. Actually, the calendar for next month for our $10 level patrons is almost done. So I just would need to finish that up and do the wallpaper, the phone wallpaper, and the computer wallpaper. So I'm in my career, I'm doing things, but I just got to get back in and get writing. So I really want to like get away, even if it's for the day, and go somewhere and do some outlining. That's what I need to do.
We should do that. We should have a day of writing. And the new Starbucks over off of Corona Road by the Sam's Club is huge inside.
Is it really?
It is huge.
I
met my friend out there the other day, and it's a big building, and there was a room for at least 50 people in there.
Are you talking about the one right in front of Sam's Club on Corona? Because I've been through the drive-through a gazillion times with my girls.
So have I. And my friend said, let's meet for coffee. And I was like, she's like, where you want to meet? I'm like, I really want to go inside the new Starbucks and see what it's like. And it was awesome.
Yeah. And let's do it. But I need to spend some time organizing that. And I need to spend some time. There's a lot. I just need to really get focused on my career again. I kind of hate social media anymore, but I know that it's a necessary, like, I just need to be present on my social media a little bit at least. So yeah. I want to make up a game plan for the next 6 months at least, and then take it from there. But so, yeah, so for me, this next week at least is just all about opening up probably not writing a whole lot. I need to go back and look at everything that I sprinted in November and decide really what I want this book to be. Like I know the characters and it's fun because I went back and I read some really old stuff that I wrote from these characters. I've been sprinting them forever just for fun, right? And the characters have kind of changed. And I think I like the old characters better than even like the more recent characters. So I need to go back and figure out, I need to figure out exactly what is the theme of this book? What is the overall purpose and what are their arcs going to be? And, all those things. So, because I want to be really productive this April. So that's my plan this week.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, that concludes this episode of the Christian Indie Writers Podcast. And until next week, may your pen be prolific, your deadlines be met, and may all of your words honor Christ. Bye now.